Hi, I'm Sonia Keister, and welcome to my kitchen. I am going to be sharing with you not only my recipes, but my planning, prep, and do-ahead steps to help you have a successful dinner party in your own home. So today, I'm going to start by sharing with you one of my most requested recipes. It is a carrot soup, but it's not just any old carrot soup. I promise you, it's a step above. It's super easy, and you can do it ahead. So stick with me, and I will show you how it's done. All right, well, let's get started on our soup. One of the best things I love about soup, one, you can do it ahead, and two, when you're chopping all your veggies, they do not need to be perfect because it's all gonna get cooked together and blended anyway. So it's an easy one to do. Here, let's start with our ingredients. For this carrot soup, there's a lot of veggies in it. Of course, there's carrots. I have about 10 carrots, pretty good sized ones, not peeled or chopped yet. This is a fennel bulb. If you haven't worked with one before, it has a slight star anise flavor to it, or a licorice flavor. Just a little bit. You're really not going to pick up much of that, but it's going to add some depth of flavor to our carrot soup. And we're going to reserve the fennel fronds, these little ones on top, to be part of our garnish for later. I have, let's see, I have leeks. These were small ones, so I have two. If you have a large one, one will do. A bay leaf, a little nub of fresh ginger. I have one large clove of garlic. You could use two if you really like the flavor of garlic. About a medium yellow onion and some butter, unsalted. We're gonna use some while we're cooking and then some when we're blending. And then I have some just chicken stock and olive oil and salt and pepper, and that's it. So let's get started chopping and then we'll move over to the stove. Now that we have all of our veggies cleaned and roughly chopped up in one big bowl, we're ready to start the soup. And the cook time on the soup takes about 20-25 minutes. The veggies actually can be chopped ahead, a couple hours, even a day ahead, covered and put in the fridge. So for me, the easiest way to have a dinner party is to break things down into manageable chunks of time. We're not always free for a couple hours at a time to prep and cook everything all at once. So if you don't have a lot of time, you can do this a day ahead. When you're ready to start the cooking of the soup, just plan a good 30 to 45 minutes, including the blending of the soup. And then that's it. Your soup can be done a couple days in advance and then just reheated when your guests arrive with the garnishes on top that I'll show you at the end. So right now I just have a soup pot on the stove. I'm gonna put it, oops, wrong burner. I'm gonna put it over kind of a medium heat because we wanna get a good, some good heat going on the pan. And I'm just adding in a mixture of extra virgin olive oil, maybe 2 tablespoons. I am eyeballing it. And then about 1 tablespoon of that unsalted butter. I'm gonna save the other 2 tablespoons of butter to puree with my soup, and that just adds a final touch to our soup. So adding that in the pot, check back, we're gonna add in our veggies. We're gonna get those sauteing, and once they have sauteed for about 5 to 7 minutes, we're gonna add in our chicken stock. Just enough to cover all those veggies. It should be about somewhere around 4 cups. If you're short on chicken stock, you could always use a little water. And then we'll add in salt, pepper, and our bay leaf, and we'll let them all cook down for about 20-25 minutes until all the veggies are super tender. Super tender in the pot, and now all we have to do is puree them in batches, and I'm going to use a Vitamix. It really does make a nice silky smooth texture, but if you just have a blender, that's fine too. First of all, I'm going to fish out that bay leaf. It's not very edible, so make sure you grab that. And then I'm just going to take a measuring cup and kind of scoop it in my blender, puree it with a little bit of that butter. Don't skip this step. It adds like a luscious mouthfeel to the soup. So a little butter at the end is a good trick. You want to make sure your soup is cool enough that you're not going to burn yourself, so be careful when you have that lid. And then this is the point where you want to add a little more salt if needed. Definitely salt, maybe a little pepper. The rule of thumb is to season it lightly as you go. Season every layer of your veggies or whatever you're cooking, and then taste and add a little bit more at the end. Salt is what makes the flavors pop and come together. So you'll notice if it's missing, and you'll also notice if you overdo it. So be careful about that. All right, we'll check back. I'm just gonna puree this in batches, and then we'll do our finishing touches. And the best part was, while this was cooking, I was checking my email for work, started a little laundry. It's one of those dishes that just comes together on its own on the stovetop. All right, I have all the soup pureed and in a container covered in the fridge. It's still a couple days out till my dinner party, but we have that course done, so I'm feeling good about that. When my guests arrive, I just have to gently reheat the soup and then plate it and serve it in whatever you want to serve it in. What I love about soup is it's so versatile and there's so many fun different ways to present it. One of my favorite ways is a shot glass. It makes a very nice light appetizer course, especially if you have a heavier meal. The other way is a nice pretty little glass square dish. It shows off the color of the soup, but it's still nice and light. And then if you're doing more of a family style meal, then just whatever small bowls you have on hand also makes a great presentation. On top, I just have some pancetta or bacon and creme fraiche or sour cream with a little bit of the fennel fronds from the fennel bulb that we reserved from earlier. And that's it. I hope you try this recipe at home. I promise you it's easy and delicious and your guests will love it. So join me next time for another great recipe and some planning and prep tips with Cooking with Sonia.